When the apocalypse descended, everyone was doing everything they could to survive. That included my fiancée and her adulterous lover. Not long before that, the two of them had worked together to murder me and seal me inside a coffin. Limo clung to her lover's arm and cursed me as a crippled weakling. She said I was nothing compared to her lover's muscles, that he made her feel full of security. She even used a Xiangxi secret art to seal me alive inside a coffin while I still had one last breath left. Lin Xiao, didn't you always dream of marrying me? Couldn't bear to leave me? Then I'll turn you into a zombie. I'll shake a bell and you'll come out. Her lover asked, isn't that basically the same as a dog? Limo burst out laughing. He was a simp to begin with. It's his blessing to be the first zombie under my command. I haven't even complained. That has disgusting. He should be thanking me. The two of them laughed as they left, but no one could have expected that 1 month later, the apocalypse would arrive. While Limo and Wang Kai struggled to survive, I crawled out of a Xiangxi coffin 1,000 miles away. 1,000 corpses formed my path, kneeling and bowing their heads in worship. All of them called me king. When I opened my eyes, the entire mountain was covered in a crimson haze. The corpses piled on top of the coffin abruptly stood up, as stiff and straight as rows of poles. In the distance, the dull and sluggish zombies all lifted their heads and sniffed the air. Then, suddenly, they howled and retreated, as if they had smelled something dangerous, something hostile. I touched my skin, still covered in dirt. It was cold, no warmth at all. My heart no longer beat either. My nose could no longer smell the air. Instead, all kinds of pheromone-like signals automatically flooded into my mind. Only a single thought crossed my head. Pucci, Pucci. The coffin lid above me was suddenly pierced through by dozens of hands. The zombies together lifted the lid away. When I rose, I saw several thousand zombies lined up on both sides, all bowing their heads in welcome. The sky was thick with crows, countless birds scrambling for flesh. Below the cliff, there was complete silence. No one spoke. At that moment, dense waves of syllables and sounds surfaced in my mind. All the zombies within a 1,000-mile radius were congratulating me together, calling me king. Even the restless zombies in the distance that were about to charge at me were met with just one glance from me. The zombies standing guard on both sides pierced through their chests and tore off their heads. 1 month ago, the ancient Xiangxi town had still been lit up bright as day. Now it was shattered and ruined, with not a single living person left. I was just about to leave when I suddenly noticed 2 hunched figures at the very end of the zombie ranks. One was Ellie Moss' mother. The other was her mother's lover. In an instant, a surge of nameless rage flooded up inside me. All the years I'd been with Limo, I had treated her mother like my own mother. Bird's nest, fish maw, gold bracelets, gold necklaces, every holiday gift Limo got. Her mother had to get one too. One time, when my business wasn't doing well, I suggested skipping her mother's share for the moment and making it up later after my business recovered. She flipped out and slapped me across the face. Lin Xiao, if you're poor, then why the fuck are you dating anyone? I've been with you this many years, and you can't even bear to spend this little money, but still talk about marrying me. I'm telling you, if I have it, my mom has to have it too. I don't care what method you use. Go, make it up immediately. Gritting my teeth, I signed a contract and gave up another 30% in profit, just so the money would come in faster. I was a somewhat famous businessman, but that day I was begging like a grandson, pleading with the other side to transfer the money quickly. The president of the other company saw how pathetic I looked and couldn't help asking a few questions. After finding out I had given up profits for the sake of my girlfriend, even he was shocked. He even advised me to take a good hard look at the relationship and said he wanted to introduce me to his niece, who was about to return home, who wouldn't understand what he really meant. Even an outsider could tell at a glance that Limo was bad news and was treating me like a sucker. But at the time, I was too deep in it. I firmly believed that Limo, who had stayed with me from having nothing to having something, was just a little spoiled and had no other bad intentions. So I smiled and politely declined. The president only shook his head and sighed. The one in the game is blind. The bystander sees clearly, but I didn't think too much of it. As soon as the money came in, I personally bought gifts, plus 1 gold bracelet each for Limo and her mother, and prepared to go apologize in person. That day, when I went to her place, I had another purpose besides apologizing. I was going to propose. I thought that after 8 years with Li Mo, from college to working life, a girl's best years had all been spent on me. Now that my career had succeeded, I finally had the ability to take responsibility for her. I carried bag after bag of gifts to the small premarital home ID bought for Li Mo. The moment I opened the door, I heard familiar, breathy moans. On the marriage bed I had prepared, 2 naked bodies were tangled together. One was Li Mo. The other was Wang Kai, my old college buddy who had asked me for a position after my startup succeeded. He worked at my company, doing the easiest job there was, while taking a monthly salary of $20,000. At first, I hadn't intended to hire him. I knew he was flighty and wouldn't bring much value to the company. But back then, Li Mo had wrapped herself around my arm and acted cute. Honey, the 3 of us used to hang out together all the time back in college. We're all good buddies. If word gets out that you made it big and became a boss but won't even help out your own buddy, who knows how badly people will talk about you and say you don't value loyalty. We're not short on that little bit of money anyway. Just let Brother Kai be a security guard. That way nobody can gossip about him not making performance targets. And your image improves too. 2 birds with 1 stone. I had never imagined that the woman I planned to spend the rest of my life with and my closest brother would end up rolling around in the same bed. At that instant, I roared and charged forward, swinging my fists at Wang Kai. I shouted at him hysterically, "Haven't I treated you well all these years? I treated you like a brother, and you fuck my woman!" Wang Kai raised his arms to block, then punched back with 1 fist, smashing it hard into my temple. Instantly, my head spun and I fell to the floor. Wang Kai climbed on top of me and beat me with punch after punch. His biceps were bulging with pulsing veins. In the face of that absolute strength, I was beaten until my face was covered in blood and my head was dizzy and swollen. Between gasps, I looked over at Li Mo, who stood by without moving, swallowing the blood bubbling in my throat. I trembled as I said, "We've been together for 8 years. How could you betray me?" Our wedding was right around the corner. But Li Mo only sneered and kicked hard at the wound in my stomach with her high heel. "Lin Xiao, if you weren't a promising stock, who the hell would have agreed to be your girlfriend? I played with you for 8 years. And you really started thinking you were something. You're nothing but an orphan with no parents. Your company's already in trouble. And now, you don't even have money to buy gifts for my mom. Who the hell would want to stay with you? Idiot!" A mouthful of blood sprayed out of my mouth. Hatred and pain twisted together in my chest. I could no longer suppress the hatred in my heart and roared, "Wang Kai is a fucking broke loser too. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't even be shit." Pa. A vicious slap landed across my face. Li Mo flicked her wrist and sneered, "Still, don't get it. Even if Brother Kai has no money, he can still beat you till you beg like a dog." Lin Xiao, people follow profit. If Therese, no profit, then they gravitate toward the strong. In my eyes, "You're not even fit to carry Brother Kai's shoes." A monstrous rage swept through me. Grinding my teeth, I climbed back up off the floor. I didn't tell Li Mo about the company contract. Instead, I brought up breaking off the engagement. Li Mo twirled her hair. "Sure. Then transfer all the assets under your name to me, and you can keep the debt. Consider it compensation for my youth all these years." "Impossible." I grabbed her shoulders tightly. "Are you trying to force me to my death? We've been together this long. Have you ever once thought about what will happen to me?" She shook my hand off and said in disgust, "Then go die." Lin Xiao, an orphan like you that nobody wants this is about the only use you have left in this world. I refused. While the 2 of them weren't paying attention, I escaped the neighborhood. And at that exact moment, I uploaded the video of the 2 of them screwing around online. The video caused a massive uproar, but shortly after I got out of the complex, a Mercedes sped straight at me. I was knocked flying, and one of my legs got caught under the wheel. I had just opened my mouth to call for help when the Mercedes reversed direction and repeatedly ran over my leg. I slapped the car body and shouted for help. Then the window slowly rolled down, and a head stuck out. It was Lima's mother. Ma. Screech. Before I could shout the full word, the Mercedes backed up and ran over me again. It didn't stop until my whole lower body was caught under the wheels. Right before I passed out, Lima's mother and her lover got out of the car, grumbling the whole time. "This car's barely been bought that long. Now, it's all dirty. How disgusting. Oh, just sell it and buy another one." Anyway, it was paid for with money from that bastard, Lin Xiao. So we didn't lose out. Hurry and take his phone and delete the video. I know the password. That little bastard's way too vicious. My daughter doesn't want to marry him, so he tries to ruin her, trying to destroy her reputation. Figures born of a mother, but never properly raised. My thoughts stopped there. Bloodthirsty, red flashed in my eyes. I waved one hand. The two people who had originally been at the tail end of the zombie line screamed as they were yanked through the air. I grabbed them both by the throat. Crack, crack. Their breathing stopped at once. On their gray-white faces, there still seemed to linger unwillingness and resentment, but I only glanced at them once, then tightened my grip and flung both corpses to the corpse hounds, whining and barking at the side. The instant they were thrown in, they were torn apart completely, flesh and bones scattered in all directions, reduced to feed in beasts' bellies. The nearby zombies seemed to sense my anger. They all turned to leave, but something moved even faster than they did. My zombies. In the blink of an eye, the nearby zombies were surrounded. My zombies stretched out their arms. Their black nails were over 10 centimeters long. Without giving the zombies any chance to bite back, they pierced them clean through with those nails. On top of that, zombies still retained a bit of human thought. They could understand orders and cooperate as a group. They realized that to completely eliminate zombies, they had to cut off their heads. So they worked together to surround them on each side, pinning them down while the other used razor-sharp nails to slice off their heads. I walked behind them. Thousands of zombies guarded both sides respectfully, escorting me forward. The zombies in front cleared out the zombies and opened the way for me. The corpse hounds following behind cleaned up the trash. Once I left Xiangxi, the outside world was even more desolate. Cars had crashed into each other from front and rear, and explosions rang out one after another. The few remaining humans struggled desperately to survive among the zombies, but many were still bitten and infected. A truck came barreling straight toward a supermarket. It ignored the survivors inside, who were waving frantically. Boom! It smashed through the supermarket glass and ran straight over the survivors, who hadn't managed to get away in time. Then, the truck's cargo bay opened, and 5 or 6 men jumped out. The leader held a hunting rifle, while the others had knives, a hand saw, and machetes. Some survivors came out to stop them. They weren't even given a chance to speak before one shotgun blast blew their heads off. Screams, cries, and the whine of the saw rose and fell together. The zombies had just been drawn over by the noise when more explosions sounded in the distance, pulling their attention away again. For looters, that first period right after disaster breaks out is the best time to preserve their lives and stockpile supplies. No matter how much noise they make, it gets covered up. Perfect for carrying out plans. The group cleaned out the supermarket completely. The truck was stuffed to the brim. Just as they were about to leave, the leader lifted his chin toward the survivors. The male survivors instantly pushed all the female survivors behind them forward. In exchange, they got a tiny amount of supplies from the looters. They thought that meant they could survive, but the moment the women were shoved into the truck bed, gunshots rang out. Every one of the men had their legs shot through, and blood flooded the ground. Their miserable howls drew over a huge wave of zombies. The looters watched those people get torn apart and drove away laughing. I left my zombies on the mountain and walked toward the supermarket alone. I was different from ordinary zombies. I still walked naturally, upright, just like a normal human. Even my appearance hadn't changed much. The only difference was that no zombie dared approach me. At the early stage of the apocalypse, I didn't want to expose my identity yet. I only wanted to find a radio in the supermarket and use it to search for Limo and Wang Kai's whereabouts. But the moment I reached the supermarket entrance, a horn suddenly blared in the distance. The truck had come back, and it charged at me as fast as it could. Then came a loud bang. After the massive impact, the truck slowly came to a stop. The scar-faced man in the lead got out and prodded my head with the gun barrel. When he saw my face, he cursed. Then he waved toward the driver's seat. Let's go. Wrong guy. I fucking thought it was that traitor from before. He turned to leave, even whistling. To him, if a man got run over, then he got run over. In the apocalypse, if he didn't get killed now, sooner or later, someone else would kill him anyway. The scar-faced man laughed and opened the passenger side door. This kid got off easy. Dying outright from being hit is a mercy. At least he doesn't have to suffer. Does he know gas is worth more than gold? Now, fuck! Total waste. He spat on the sandy ground, kicking up dust. Then he lifted a foot to get in the truck. But in the next second, he was yanked down to the ground with brutal force. He had been completely unprepared, and as he flipped onto his back, disbelief was written all over his face. Then his wrist was twisted and broken open. Amid his screams, I easily took the gun from his hand, flipped over on top of him, and pressed the barrel to his forehead. Which matters more, your life or the gasoline? I'll give you two choices, your life or the truck. The pain made the man grimace so hard his eyes looked like they might split apart. He swallowed, his pupils drifting for a moment. Little brother, we move. Halfway through his sentence, he suddenly stared behind me and roared. At that instant, I raised my right hand and spun it behind me. I pulled the trigger. Bang! The man behind me crashed to the ground and rolled down from the truck. The moment the gunshot rang out, the rear compartment flew open. 5 or 6 men jumped out. When they saw the scar-faced man pinned under me, they all roared and charged at me together. The scar-faced man laughed coldly. Terry's only one bullet in the gun. Now that you've used it, you're dead too. I'll give you one chance. Let me go, and we can still talk. I'll give you one last chance, too. I stared into his eyes and said, slowly, your life or the truck. He froze for a second, looking at his brothers getting closer and closer. He gave a snort through his nose. You don't know when to appreciate mercy. Just wait to die. Before he could finish, the heads of all 5 or 6 men approaching me fell to the ground almost at the same time. They didn't even make a sound. Only the blood spraying out showed that life had just left them. Under me, the scar-faced man had gone deathly pale. His legs trembled and his pants were wet. You, what the hell are you? I didn't answer. I just asked if he knew Limo and Wang Kai. The scar-faced man shook his head blankly, terror filling his eyes. Who are they to you? I can help you find them. My enemies. I was going to find them and make them wish they were dead. When I left the supermarket, there were several headless corpses outside the door. Only one body was still whole, and the scar on his face ran across it. He had literally been scared to death. I drove the truck and found an air raid shelter to use as a base. The female survivors in the truck learned that I had saved them, and they willingly chose to follow me and become members of the base. From that day on, the mountain above the shelter was packed densely with zombies waiting for orders. Inside the shelter were survivors I had recruited. One of the female survivors was named Lu Yan. She volunteered to send out radio broadcasts and recruit survivors to the base. In a short time, more and more survivors gathered there, while everyone else outside was still worrying about food. I commanded zombies to bring back supplies. Without a single scratch, when the weather outside suddenly changed and the cold turned extreme, I commanded zombies, and shelters were built almost instantly. And when everyone outside was suffering under severe water shortages, I watered vegetables and spent water recklessly. More and more survivors were drawn in. And then, one day, at last, 2 familiar figures appeared outside the base. When Limo and Wang Kai arrived, I had just finished handling a not too big, not too small incident among the previous batch of survivors. Some had gotten greedy and wanted to take over the base and the supplies for themselves. Several men had tried to sneak in with weapons at night. They thought that if they killed me, they could monopolize the base. But what waited for them was broken legs and being thrown into a zombie horde. When Limo and Wang Kai arrived, they just so happened to see survivors wearing our insignia, hanging several crying, begging traitors one by one from ropes. Then those people walked up to the watchtower and lowered them down to dangle in the air. The sobbing and the smell of blood from their severed limbs quickly attracted a huge group of zombies, one after another. The traitors dropped into the zombie horde like dumplings going into boiling water. The rope loosened, and the person fell straight into the dense mass of zombies. When the rope was raised again, all that remained was a blood-red rope and a skeleton. Someone was kowtowing and begging, Brother Xiao, please spare me. I was wrong. I won't dare do it again. He slapped himself again and again. From now on, I'll be your dog. I'll do anything you tell me. I won't ever dare. Kovadea. The survivors had all been waiting for my signal. The moment I raised my hand, they threw him in without hesitation. All that remained were the skin-crawling sounds of chewing and shrill screams. Li Mo, pale-faced, hid behind Wang Kai. She tugged at his sleeve. Wang Kai's face didn't look too good either. Looking at the white bones of those men, he swallowed hard. The two of them turned and left uneasily. For the next few days, Limo and Wang Kai lingered around the edges of the base. They looted a remote little convenience store and found half a sandwich covered in green mold, just for that thin slice of ham filling. The two of them got into a full-on fight, struggling over it. In the end, Limo could only whimper and swallow her saliva while watching Wang Kai wolf it down. She turned her head and just happened to see people from the base walking out. I was wearing a baseball cap, squatting on the ground, playing with a corpse hound. I casually tossed sliced top-grade Wagyu to the dog. Fresh vegetables were thrown all over the ground as side dishes. From far away, Limo couldn't see my face, but it was like she could smell the meat. Her cheeks were sunken in, and she was practically drooling. The loud gulping sounds from her throat were especially obvious. Wang Kai saw what she was thinking in one glance. "Pah!" He slapped her across the face. Then he smiled darkly and said, "What? You saw someone else has food, so now you want to wag your tail like a dog too? You cheap bitch!" Limo shrank where she stood. Her stomach growled loudly, and she didn't have the strength to resist at all. All she could do was pull out the last bit of water she had, trying to fill her stomach with that. But the moment she took out that final half bottle of water, Wang Kai snatched it away. He tipped it back and gulped it down in huge swallows. The very last drop went down his throat. This time, Limo broke. She screamed like she'd gone insane and pounced on him. "Wang Kai, that's my water." "Pa!" Malnourished Limo was lifted up like a chick by Wang Kai and slapped over and over. "Fuck you!" "What do you mean, your water?" He spat in her face. "If I hadn't been taking you along from the start, do you think you'd still be alive now? Listen up, bitch. Every piece of supply you get, I get a share too. If I hadn't been dragging along dead weight like you, I would have gotten to the base a long time ago. Would I still be starving out here with you now?" As he spoke, Wang Kai let out a creepy smile. "But you've still got some use left. The founder of that base is a man. Full belly, warm body, dirty thoughts. You've got a decent face. I don't believe he wouldn't be interested in you. Trading you for my chance to get into the base. Worth it." Limo shuddered all over and stared at Wang Kai in disbelief. "How can you do something that shameless?" "Wang Kai, your woman." As if remembering something, she shouted with red eyes. "If it weren't for me, those debt collectors would have beaten you to death ages ago. Don't forget where your money came from." "Yeah." Wang Kai burst out laughing, gloom flashing through his eyes. "Then, I guess I shouldn't. Thank you." "Huh, you bitch stole that pathetic bastard Lin Xiao's assets to raise me. If I owe thanks to anyone, it should be him." "Wang Kai, back then, The rest of Limo's words were cut off in her throat. Wang Kai had his hand around her neck, smiling viciously. "What? Regretting it now? Too bad. Regrets useless. Limo, you were the one who climbed into my bed and insisted on screwing around with me. Ha ha ha." Limo's face turned ashen, her eyes dimming, the strength in her struggle growing weaker and weaker. At that moment, I suddenly stood up and brushed the bits of flesh off my hands. Then, I took out 2 inflatable buckets. I opened bottle after bottle of Belgian estate water, until both buckets were full. Then, I sat on top of them, spread my legs, 1 bucket by my left foot, 1 by my right, and leisurely soaked my feet. The 2 of them instantly went crazy. Their eyes turned blood red. Limo opened her mouth and bit down hard on Wang Kai's hand. She tore off a chunk of flesh by force. Facing Wang Kai's fury, she burst into hysterical laughter, madness all over her face. "Yes, I regret it. I actually followed a useless man like you. If Lin Xiao were still here, even if there were only 1 last bite of food and 1 last sip of water, leave all of it for me. And, on top of that," Limo pointed at her head with a sarcastic laugh. Lin Xiao was smart. In the apocalypse, if it were him, he'd definitely think of all kinds of ways to protect me and let me live without worrying about food or clothes. If he were still alive, maybe he would have already built a shelter for me. Why the hell would I be stuck out here, running for my life with you? Limo's eyes were red, and her whole body trembled non-stop. "Wang Kai, choosing you was the biggest mistake of my life. Back then, I should have let those debt collectors hack you to death. Maybe then, Lin Xiao would still be with me. He definitely would have protected me. Well, woo, woo." A cold laugh sounded. Wang Kai rolled up his sleeves. The muscles that had once bulged full were now completely wasted away. He looked weak and powerless, yet he still beat Limo viciously. Her shrill screams rang through the sky. The violence only ended when Wang Kai delivered the final kick. Limo blacked out completely. Wang Kai dragged her to the entrance of the shelter. When Wang Kai came begging, I had just finished soaking my feet. Limo's hands and feet had all been broken, but her face had been wiped clean. Limo was beautiful. But no matter how pretty that face was, to me now, she looked no different from a corpse. Wang Kai respectfully pushed her toward me with a flattering grin. He said, "Brother, I heard your base is still recruiting survivors. It's full. I didn't even turn my head. No more room." Wang Kai froze and quickly shoved Limo farther forward. At the same time, he stripped off his clothes and showed off his muscles. "Bro, big brother, this is my offering to you. She's not just prettish is wild in bed too. I swear, shall definitely satisfy you. And also, he patted the shriveled muscles on his body. I won't freeload. I can work." After saying that, he pressed his hands together and begged, "Brother, I'm begging you, just let me in. Look, you can even use water for soaking your feet. Your base has so many supplies. One more person won't matter. This bitch doesn't even eat much. You only need to feed her once every 2 days." I laughed, seeing me smile. Wang Kai thought I'd agreed, but then my next sentence left him frozen where he stood. I said, "People are full." I lifted my eyes and looked at him. Wang Kai froze at the look in my eyes, but very quickly, he continued and asked, "Big brother, what do you mean?" I chuckled. "People are full, but Therese, still room for a dog." I met Wang Kai back in college. When I first knew him, he was getting beaten up by a group of people. Several thugs had him on the ground. There was a knife stuck in his leg, and he still hadn't begged or surrendered. That spirit of his was one of the reasons I got close to him in the beginning. But this same hot-blooded man, this so-called brother who'd take a knife for his friends, had slept with his best brother's fiancée. Rage boiled in my chest. I wanted nothing more than to twist his head off right then, but I held back. If he died too quickly, that would be too good for them. I wanted them to suffer until life was worse than death. Wang Kai stood there, fists clenched. I had thought he'd at least resist or rage for a while. But, to my surprise, the moment I finished speaking, he immediately started barking like a dog. He raised his fists and shook them, tongue out. Woof, woof, woof. Wang Kai was even smiling, his eyes full of excitement. "Big brother, being a dog is fine too. From now on, I'm your dog. Wherever you tell me to go, I go. Whatever a dog eats, he'll eat." At that moment, Wang Kai was worse than rotting meat in my eyes. I kept sneering, then stopped him from entering the base. "Sure, if you want to be a dog, then you have to do what a dog does." "What thing?" Wang Kai looked at me blankly. I stretched out my right leg, still dripping water. The fierce, snarling corpse hound at the side obediently walked to my feet. It stuck out its tongue and licked all the water off my foot clean. Then it lowered its head and gulped down the foot-soaking water. Wang Kai stood there, his face looking awful. He didn't move for a long while. Slowly, I said, "What?" Realized you can't do it. "You really think barking a few times is enough to get into my base?" Behind me, a large crowd of survivors whispered among themselves, quietly laughing at Wang Kai. Just as I was about to pull back my leg and stand up, Wang Kai hurriedly dropped to his knees and slid forward, grabbing my leg. He stuck out his tongue and was about to lick it. But the next second, I kicked him, flying. Gee, you might not think it's disgusting, but I do. I think, well, just forget this. Go crawl back to wherever you came from. Gulu, gulu. Before I even finished speaking, Wang Kai picked up the foot bucket and gulped it down like crazy, as if he were dying of thirst. Only then did he grit his teeth and look at me. "Now is that enough?" I threw back my head and laughed, then shot him a cold look. With a mocking tone, I said, "Forgot to tell you, the dogs are full, too." Wang Kai finally couldn't hold back anymore. He kicked over the foot bucket. Water splashed across the ground, and he roared furiously. "Fuck! Are you playing me? I barked like a dog. I drank your foot water, and now you're telling me it's full. Motherfucker! You think I don't dare beat your ass?" With that, he threw a punch straight at my face. As his fist was just about to smash into my nose, Wang Kai couldn't help laughing. "Useless trash!" His eyes lit up as he looked toward the survivors behind me. "See that? Your boss is a fucking loser. He can't even block one punch from me, and this kind of guy is your base leader. Crack. The instant his fist touched my nose, Wang Kai's hand snapped off. The cut at the wrist was clean and smooth, blood gushing wildly. No one saw how I moved. Not even the corner of my clothes stirred. Wang Kai collapsed to the ground, clutching his right arm, screaming miserably, gritting his teeth, his voice trembling. He said, "Fuck, you're a monster. You never planned to let me into the base. I stood in front of him, looking down at him from above. My voice was calm to the point of being eerie. "You're right. I never planned to let you in, Wang Kai." Wang Kai had been cursing in collapse, but then he suddenly froze. How do you know my name?" I raised my hand and slowly removed the baseball cap. And the moment Wang Kai saw my face, his whole body locked up. When he finally reacted, he stumbled backward in terror, unable to even speak clearly. "Lao Lin Xiao, weren't you dead?" I laughed softly. "Yeah, you and that bitch personally sealed me in a coffin and cursed me to never reincarnate. Pretty confused, aren't you? Wondering why I'm here." I took one step after another toward him, forcing Wang Kai back until there was nowhere left to retreat. His forehead was covered in cold sweat, and he kept sucking in sharp breaths. I bent down close to his ear. "Because I'm here to claim your lives." The moment those words fell, before Wang Kai could even react, several survivors from inside the base dragged him toward the watchtower. He instantly remembered the horrible scene had seen before. Overcome by terror, he actually broke free from them and crawled to my feet. Sweat poured off Wang Kai's body as he stammered. "Lin Xiao, brother, I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you like that back then. It was my fault. Using his only remaining hand, Wang Kai slapped himself several times. Then he quickly pointed at the unconscious Limo below. "It was her. She seduced me. I didn't want to at first. It was that bitch Limo who tempted me and made me do the wrong thing. Lin Xiao, we were the best brothers." I laughed. "What kind of real brother sleeps with his brother's woman?" Wang Kai, "Don't worry. I won't take your life." Wang Kai hadn't even had time to fully relax before he heard, "I'll make those zombies eat slower. Every day they'll tear off one piece of your flesh. I'll always leave you with one last breath, so you can't truly live. And you can't die either." His face instantly turned white. Before he could even beg, he was already hung onto the rope. In an instant, Wang Kai was so terrified he pissed himself, screaming madly, "I'm begging you." Boom! The rope was slowly lowered. A zombie grabbed Wang Kai's leg, opened its mouth, and bit down, tearing off a huge chunk of flesh. I left several survivors on the watchtower. They had no expression at all. After hearing my order, they only nodded. Those survivors looked human on the outside, but in truth, they were zombies that had originally followed me. Not long ago, I discovered that I could not only control zombies, but also ashes. That happened when I passed by a cemetery. Some humans were fighting over the offerings left on the graves. I only had a thought in my heart. The cemetery exploded open. The ashes formed several twisting worm-like lines and crawled toward the humans' feet. Then, those people turned into zombies. After more testing, I found that as long as I had a human's ashes, then if those ashes touched human skin or were inhaled, that human would turn into a zombie in an instant. 1 week ago, while leading zombies out to search for supplies, I ran into the survivors of another base. Their base had several hundred people. The moment they saw the huge amount of supplies I had with me, they all got greedy and wanted to seize them. Several hundred against several dozen was more than enough. But what they didn't know was that I had my eye on their bodies. Beneath their base were thousands of buried corpses. That place had once been a graveyard. The result after that was obvious. The graveyard exploded, and the ashes, like they had minds of their own, automatically sought out suitable bodies. The infection rate was terrifying. Not only did I not lose my supplies, I gained several hundred more obedient zombies. When Li Mo woke up, I had already found what I wanted, the soul summoning bell. When she sealed me into the coffin, she had, in a sense, also gained control over my body. Even after becoming the zombie king, I was still affected by it. She stared at my face for a long while. Only after several minutes did she finally call my name with red eyes. Testing the sound. "Lin Xiao." I looked at her and said nothing, but tears instantly streamed down her face. "Lin Xiao, it really is you. You're okay. I knew you'd be okay. Lin Xiao, I regret it. I really regret it. Back then I shouldn't have listened to Wang Kai and treated you like that. I was wrong. Can you forgive me?" I gave a mocking laugh. "Are you dreaming while awake? You personally sealed me alive in a coffin and only left after confirming I was dead." Li Mo cried and shook her head. "It wasn't like that. I didn't want to either. Wednesday been together so many years show. Could I really want you dead? I left air holes in the coffin. I was just angry that day. Who told you to upload my video online? Even at a time like this. She still thought she hadn't done anything wrong. She covered her face and sobbed. Lin Xiao, I love you. I admit I was wrong, but I regret it now. Can we get back together? I snorted and grabbed her by the shoulder. The icy cold in my palm instantly made her shiver. I spoke with naked mockery. Li Ma, wake up. I'm not here to get back together with you. I'm here to take your life. I took out the soul-summoning bell. The thin little golden bell shattered with one squeeze. The bell was tied closely to Li Mo. Once the bell shattered, Li Mo would die too, but she still didn't realize it at all. She only stared at me blankly and asked in a dull voice, why won't you get back together with me? Lin Xiao, don't you love me anymore? Tears slid down her face. Watching that, all I felt was disgust. I said, no more. I raised my hand and crushed the bell. In an instant, Li Mo collapsed to the ground and stopped breathing. As I looked at the way she lay there on the ground, I suddenly felt nothing at all. After breaking open an urn of ashes, I drew in a new soul and put it into Li Ma's body. She became my next zombie. I assigned her to the watchtower. When Wang Kai saw her arrive, hope lit up in his eyes. He begged Li Mo to untie him and lower him down. But this time, what he got was Li Mo extending her nails and directly slicing off the part of him that had been bitten by a zombie. His screams and curses exploded together, but there was no expression at all on Li Mo's face. Only from time to time, she kept repeating the same sentence over and over. Lin Xiao, sorry. In the 5th year after the apocalypse began, my base had already expanded to a very considerable scale. Over the years, whenever people died, batches of zombies would be born on the other side. Generally speaking, to expand my zombie forces faster, the best method would be to burn corpses into ash in a furnace, making it easier to convert living humans into subordinate zombies next time I met them. But I didn't do that. There were countless graveyards in the world. Living humans were becoming fewer and fewer. The ones who survived had already developed abilities. When war broke out between humans and zombies, I, who still looked human, wasn't affected in the slightest. Humans thought I was one of them. Zombies steered clear of me. When both sides fought, I just took the chance to toss out a handful of ashes. Then the people who died would become my zombies too. And not just any zombies. Ability-wielding zombies. Then, in the 10th year, I suddenly gained a new ability. I could turn zombies into obedient zombies under my command as well. No ashes required. 10 zombies could be combined into one zombie. 5 zombies could be combined into one ability. Zombie. By the end, I could even choose a zombie's sex. Then, 30 years passed. Just as humans and zombies were fighting each other to the death, they suddenly discovered that the number of zombies was dropping exponentially. And in the S-base, not far away, there were more and more beautiful women. From the moment the apocalypse began, humanity had never once produced an ability that allowed peaceful coexistence with zombies. But the survivors of S-base could swagger straight through zombie hordes. Even a zombie tide would automatically part and make way for them. Finally, one day, the leaders of the other bases couldn't hold back anymore. They all came asking for the secret. I only smiled and let the beautiful female zombie at my side, dressed in office lady clothes, feed me tea and wipe my mouth. The leaders all stared so hard their eyes nearly popped out. They asked me what exactly I was. I smiled faintly. Me, the world's only zombie king.